about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
So this is a good question I got. So one of my listeners was listening to the segment where we were talking about dementia and preventing dementia and how social isolation is bad. And I think we talked about that 5-3-1 rule where go outside, walk the dog, talk to people, engage in with people, etc. So we were talking about fighting off dementia. And then one of my listeners writes, what about toxic people in your life? Do they cause dementia? And what about cutting people off? Can that help stave off dementia? The answer to that is yes, it can. Now, if you're socially isolated and you're not, talking to anybody, and then you finally have one friend and you cut them off, no, that's not good. But if you are socially out there and somebody is taking advantage of you or toxic to you, it can be very helpful. So interestingly, I have been struggling for years with individuals that have been in my life that are toxic. And I've liberated myself from many of them. And they may be good people and going to heaven and all that, but they're toxic to me. And from what I'm hearing, they're toxic to other people as well. So, yeah, I'm not a bad judge, a character. And so I went through something this last year where I said, you know what? I know it's all about you got to be there for people. You got to understand the pros and cons. And I understand that the average person is selfish. I hear from a lot of doctors, a lot of friends, they just take advantage. Everybody takes advantage. Everybody's selfish. Everybody wants something from you. I mean, that happens. I mean, your kids want something from you, your husband, your wife. I mean, you have to understand and read through the selfish part of it because humans are selfish. But once it leads to drama or chaos or just pain, see ya. I don't need you. Now, there's symbiotic relationships and you rely on each other, and that's okay. But when it's always one-sided, you can only do so much. And many of us that are people of faith, we're like, well, we have to, turn another cheek. We have to be supportive. We have to be there for their shortcomings. And so this last year, I kind of liberated myself from some of these people that are parasitic or people who treated me like crap. Yeah, I mean, you can only do so much. Yeah, they blow you off or they just, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but no big thing because I don't care. I don't care. No big deal. And, oh, God, it's liberating. Now, sometimes the guilt comes back. Say, gosh, I better reach out or I better, that maybe they're sick in the head. And so as a doctor, I need to understand that certain people might be sick in the head and mentally ill. And, I should be there with compassion. But I got to tell you, I have never felt so free. I have never felt so healthy getting rid of that cancer or that toxicity. Now I'm nervous because again, my whole creed is to be there for everybody. You got to be there for everybody. I can't turn my back. But I got to tell you, I'm no good to anybody when you have parasites on you or you have people treating you like crap and making you not feel good. So how do you cut somebody off? How do you do it? Well, you don't want to tell them that they're a piece of crap or that they're what I always like to do, because I still want to make people feel better, is I say, look, I just need time for myself. No, not you. It's just, I'm just kind of putting my focus on some other things right now. You'll hear from me later, but right now I'm just kind of taking some alone time. Or I'm going to just, focus on a couple friendships right now. Right. Or, and focus on my family. I'm going to work on my health. I'm going to be sleeping better. So I'm not going out that much because I'm going to bed earlier. But you could say, look, I'm just going through, a new healthy reset for me. You don't have to call them toxic. You don't have to call them pieces of crap. You don't have to, whatever. But there's ways to cut people off. Now, they keep bugging you. Well, we need this, we need this, we need this. I mean, sometimes you just don't answer your phone. Sometimes, I mean, I've been shutting off my phone. I've been not answering back. Well, thank God nobody has said they needed me, because that, again, that's kind of pulls at the heartstrings. But, you saying, look, I'm going to take time for myself. I got to tell you, I've never felt healthier. And, you need to really evaluate who you're around, whether it's your work, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family members. And you need to appreciate that you could only do so much. And if you really feel guilty, about cutting off a toxic relationship, there's so many good charitable things you could do. And I feel like it doesn't make up for it, because I feel like I still have to be there for that person. But, I have a family member that cut everybody off, and they had issues and they had wronged me. But I had always said, look, I'm always here for you. I'm always here for you. But I got to tell you, I learned a lot from that family member. Now, I thought he was a piece of crap, and I thought he was getting out of a lot of work and a lot of whatever. But then again, he was dealing with issues that helped him recover, and getting the toxic people out of his life helped him. And, when you come from a family like mine that has a lot of dysfunctionality and toxicity, I understand when there's families saying, what do we do? I know we're supposed to be family. We're supposed to be family. Blood is thicker than water, but I'm dying here. Then you can't. And I hate to see, like, what is it? What is it? Who's Posh Spice, David Beckham and Brooklyn Beckham? I know their family's going through things. Families go through things. They do. And families fight, and, you're supposed to be family. You come together. But when you're getting hurt by somebody, same thing a friend. I love having friends. But when there's a friend that's just, really, I don't need this. You don't have to have them in your life. There's go be around people that appreciate you. And, one thing I've started to do is I've started to tell people I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And I notice patients are doing that, where they'll say, I appreciate you, doc. Because you want to be around people that appreciate you. Got a lot to give, and you want to feel appreciated, and you want to be there for people who appreciate you. I just can't lose any time or patience on people that don't. So it's okay in some scenarios. But if you need help, talk to a counselor. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Battling for years and years stuck in the endless cycle of minimum payments could take decades. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020. That's 800-878-6020. 800-878-6020.
Hey guys, it's Dr. Dahlia. Fantasy football season is coming, but sadly, too many of you are taking the bench while the country takes part in one of the most exciting and lucrative industries out there. Don't know how to play? Well, huddle up and listen. Paul Kalikas and I have written a fantasy football pocket guide for beginners. This book walks you through the basics and shows you how simple and lucrative joining or creating a fantasy football team can be. Read our fantasy football pocket guide for beginners found on Amazon or follow the links on X and Facebook. That's Fantasy Football Pocket Guides for Beginners. Don't be left out.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
The cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Show, 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. I got some good news, people. We got some good news here. Heart disease fatalities are dropping. Heart disease deaths fell 2.7% from 2022 to 2023. Now, I don't have 2024, 2025 data. So we're talking about heart disease went down even though Biden was president. So that means that's a pretty significant drop. Unfortunately, heart disease is still the leading cause of death, according to a new report from the American Heart Association. ABC News is reporting that although death rates from heart disease have dropped for the first time in 5 years, still kills more Americans than any other condition. This is a report published early today in the journal Circulation. Annual heart disease deaths decreased by 2.7% between 2022 and 2023. So 941,000 people had died 2022 to 916,000. That's huge. Also remember, back in 2022, 2023 was a completely open border. So we had more population coming in and the numbers went down. I really think it's even a bigger percentage than that. But cardiovascular disease has still killed more people in the United States than cancer and accidents combined. Blockages in coronary arteries, they say those decreased by 5.9%. That's interesting. Oh, deaths related to coronary artery blockages like widowmakers, etc. And coronary artery disease is where you get blockages of the blood vessels. Many people think you go from 50 to 60 to 70 to 80 to 90, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. And then when it's 100, you have a heart attack. Not entirely. You can have a blockage of the 60s, 70s, 80% blood going through, but then a piece of that plaque breaks off. When it does, immediately you form a clot. And that's how you get these widowmakers, these left anterior descending blockages, heart attacks. And when blood flow stops going to the heart and your heart muscle can't beat or pump properly, it stops. Unfortunately, that's how my father died. So why the numbers going down? Considering population increased, COVID, the stress of the prior administration, what happened? Well, I think we are doing a better job with addressing the risk factors. So what are the risk factors for heart disease? Well, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. We have a lot more medications now. We have a lot of different ways to treat. If you have a family history of heart disease, we want you to go in and get seen. If you have yourself had a prior heart issue, if you're obese, if you smoke, if you drink alcohol, if you lead an unhealthy lifestyle, if you're sedentary, if you have high stress, these are all things that could lead to heart disease and very short stature for a male. If you're a woman over 50 or 55, not having natural estrogen, a male over 40 or 45, those are also risk factors. They've changed it between 40 to 45, but I usually say males over 40, women over 50 at higher risk. So we have done wonders as it pertains to statins, as it pertains to other medications that we use to lower cholesterol and lower lipids like Zetia, Repatha, things like that. In terms of diabetes, we're being a lot more aggressive. Look at Dexcom and these glucose monitors that people can have. You know how much of a pain it was for patients to have to prick their finger 4 times a day? And so now we have these continuous glucose monitors, these CGMs, that will tell you when your sugar is high, when your sugar is low. Fantastic technology. And so you're able to do more and you're able to manage more. We have medicines like Ozempic and Mounjaro doing wonders for the diabetic population. Unfortunately, many diabetics can't get their medicine because people are using it for weight loss, but still, the medicines are out there. And I also credit Viagra, Cialis. I credit the pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer who make Viagra and these erectile dysfunction medications, because then I think all doctors should. If somebody's having erectile dysfunction, they should have their heart checked. Because if you're having poor blood flow to the penis, there's a good chance you're having poor blood flow to the heart. I mean, if you're having issues with blood vessels in some areas, you should have all, the blood vessels checked in other areas. And so people coming in asking for Viagra are getting their hearts checked. Now, do I think this number is going to hold? I don't. Now, I'm worried we're going to see an uptick in heart disease. One is because still many more, people flooded the border unhealthy. That could, lead to higher numbers of people that sadly haven't been able to get good care for diabetes, cholesterol, etc. So I think the number issue because remember, this data was only between 2022 and 2023. So what happened 23, 24, 24 to 25? So those are concerns. Then we've had a lot of patients that are not on their medicine anymore. My husband does CDL physicals, DOT physicals for commercial driver's licenses. And he says, Dahlia, you won't believe how many people's blood pressure. It's like 200 over 120. Why isn't their doctor picking it up? I go, they're not going to the doctor. When was the last time, and don't feel guilty and don't be squirming, but think about when was the last time you went and had a physical? We were supposed to have yearly physicals. Obamacare is supposed to pay for our yearly physicals. Are you getting your free Obamacare yearly physical? No. I had a patient who was bleeding rectally, and he said, I've been taken care of by GI. I'm good. I've had my physicals. I go, when was your last physical? 2017. 2017, that's 9 years ago. I thought you were getting regular physicals, and now you're bleeding rectally? That could be cancer. I don't want to scare people, but I was trained, right, to screen, look for, treat, and prevent illnesses that could kill you prematurely. Why aren't you going to people like me? Oh, because you suck. No, seriously. Why aren't you going to the doctor? Is it because it's too expensive? Is it because Obama promised it'd all be free if you had Obamacare plans? And now for you to go in and get a physical and see a doctor, it's not? Did they lie to you? Is it that your doctor left? I left. I couldn't keep the place open. I mean, I probably could have maybe pushed it another year. But with high deductibles and patients not paying, you can only do so much. I got to pay staff. So we had to get another doctor who could take over the lease and pay the staff. And I left and went to teach. So we could prevent heart disease if you let us do our work. Now, I understand many people are getting erectile dysfunction meds online. Apparently, you get to talk to a provider. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. I'll answer all these questions. And then you get your medication. Please get your heart checked first. Remember I told you there was a case where somebody was having some intermittent chest pain, saw a cardiologist. The cardiologist said, look, I know you're only in your 30s, but we got to do a stress test. We got to make sure you don't have coronary artery disease. The guy says, thank you. They set it up, I believe, for the following Monday. He cheats on his wife the weekend before in a menage a trois, drops dead of a heart attack. The wife, who he cheated on, sues the doctor and wins $1 million. I told you guys about this case because she said that he should have warned him. She's mad he cheated, but she's also mad he's dead, and that the doctor should have warned him that he could have severe heart disease. How many 30-some-year-olds do you tell not to have sex because of heart disease? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but I check everybody's heart, not because they're having sex, but because if you are having erectile dysfunction, could be a sign of cardiovascular disease. And cardiovascular disease is still the number one killer. So get your blood pressure checked. And I know people don't want to go to the doctor because then they don't have to go on medication. Listen, my father who died at age 62 of a heart attack, he was a stubborn son of a gun. I don't want to take the Lipitor. I don't want to take the medicine. Leave me alone. And, he took his blood pressure medicine. He took some aspirin, but he still dropped dead of a heart attack. He didn't want to take cholesterol medication. His fear of taking cholesterol medicine kept him from being alive. So don't fear the medication. Fear the disease. 1-877 Doc Dolly.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regenerations. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, Fine Farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
We are back on the Dr. Dolly Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Doc Dolly, 1-877 DOCDALI. So when I was little and I thought of the future, what did I imagine the future to be like? So I was thinking about spaceships. Most of my, remember I'm a kid in the 80s. So most of my, shall we say, projections of what the future would be like was based on sci-fi shows. Like I thought doctors were going to use that wand that the Doc used on Star Trek. Back to the Future 2 talked about hoverboards and flying cars and food would be dehydrated NASA style, and then we would add water and hydrate, and then it would make like a whole pizza like he's on Back to the Future 2. So I always thought that would be the future. But I didn't know. I mean, I thought we'd have robots and things like that. Well, CES, Consumer Electronics Show, has really, really cool stuff. And you saw some amazing robots. And I didn't go to CES this year. I didn't have time. But wow, some of the things that they had that would be in our future, pretty incredible. It's interesting. My mother said back in the 1950s, she went to this fair or this show and they actually had this prototype. It was a small machine that allowed you to talk to somebody on the screen, like what we do now with our phones. But she told me back in the 80s that she saw something like that in the 1950s. And they said later, we are going to be able to talk to each other through screens, through TVs. And I was like, no way, you're high. No, that's what we saw in the 1950s. I was like, whoa, wow. I still wouldn't believe that. Even if you told me in the 90s, Dahlia, you'd be able to sit here and look at weather and look at news while you're at a stadium or while you're watching a movie, and you'll get to know what's going on outside just by looking at your phone. I'm like, no, you're lying. Because I'm not very good with extrapolating what we have now and how that'll look in the future. But CES helps do that so you can see what's out there. And they say the new buzzword was physical AI. So physical is AI is where AI is not so much just what you get on your computer, but self-driving cars, humanoid factory workers. According to PC Mag, this includes robot puppies, robot butlers, robot bartenders. And the idea is to make physical devices smarter and more practical, where a car could handle more nuances on the road without driver input. Now, as much as I love driving and I want my hands on the wheel, I do not want to do a self-driving car. I do support, and I am excited about knowing that that car can also pick up on things that I might not be able to. Now, let's say I'm driving at night and I don't see as well as during the day. Will that car be an additional set of eyes? Don't do Jesus take the wheel, but I'm not ready for that yet. But will it find something that I'm not looking at? If I'm sitting at a stoplight, will my car detect that someone's about to carjack me one block down the road and then be able to alert me so I could get to a safe area with the car? I mean, these are things that could be pretty cool. But a robot factory worker, a robotic bartender, we're going to lose our jobs. What about these robot puppies and these robot animals? Can they comfort older patients? Well, being that dogs go pee-pee house and they trip you, I can't tell you how many times I trip over my dog and cats in the middle of the night. I don't know why they like to be at my feet and ankles. They know I'm going to trip over them. Idiots. I don't get that. They're just, So I would never recommend a live animal, for somebody who's older and is at fall risk. But having, having something that decreases social isolation is, I think, very good. In fact, I was thinking about getting this real soft teddy bear, and my friend's granddaughter got her this really cute octopus toy. And it's sitting there, and I can't help but look at it. I like looking at Christmas lights, and I like looking at soft toys. I don't like to be surrounded by toys. I don't like having teddy bears. I'm not into that. But a funny looking octopus I like, and apparently it cheers her grandma up, and so I really do see how robotic animals that you don't trip on or don't cause fall risk could be advantageous. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang had a keynote address. He predicted that as AI models become more accessible, it is inevitable that anyone, not just large companies, will be able to program and customize robots for their work and home. NVIDIA has been touting this vision for several years, and the rest of the industry is now catching up. So one thing they showed were these TVs, these ultra vivid screen TVs. And boy, I'm looking at one of these and wow, I mean, the colors. And they say there's the RGB LED screen. RGB stands for red, blue, green light emitting diode. That's what all the latest models have, replacing the OLED and the mini LEDs that have dominated the market. According to PC Mag, at CES, Hisense showcased their 116UXS model featuring this RGB mini LED Evo technology. I just want a TV. I don't have to have vivid colors. I'd like the stories to be good. But honestly, Pitt is fantastic, but it's vivid enough for those people who don't like medical. Seeing the birth and the I&D of a hyphema and all these other things that they show. It doesn't have to be super vivid for me. Just make it a good story. Now, in the past, LEDs would only emit white or blue light. They could adjust to improve contrast, but not color vividness. So that's what these RGBs do. They have clusters of red, blue, and green lights to help improve the contrast. I still don't know how a TV works. I have no idea how Hollywood makes something, and then I get to see it in my bedroom. I don't understand that, but we get to see TV. What else? Wi-Fi 8 is on the horizon. They say I don't even think I have Wi-Fi 7, but they say Wi-Fi 8 is going to be the new standard, even more improved than Wi-Fi 7. Wi-Fi 8. Apparently, they have Asus debuted their concept router, the ROG Neo Core, and they plan to sell those by the end of 2026. Wow. The laptop chip race is heating up, so there's more of those that they showed at CES. Apparently, AMD teased its Ryzen AI 400 series set to launch in the first quarter in laptops and mini desktops. I think that's great. Your processors, all of those, that's great. But I got to tell you, these laptops, they just keep dying. on me. So figure out, I just had a new laptop, and then it said that the hardware wasn't recognized, and it's dead. And I'm like, well, what happened to this? So yeah, I could have the most amazing chip in it, but if it's dying anyway, no, I'm not a fan. Foldable phones. Those are something that we start to see, and I do not have a foldable phone because I have an Apple, but you can bet that Apple's going to want to jump on this. And so rather than just one slab, CES showed 2 models of foldable devices that promise larger screens, but they're not much bigger in your pocket because they fold. And it opens up like a book or like a paper brochure, and then you get this 8-inch display. But here's my problem. I don't want my phone to be, I like it small. I mean, I don't want to hold a book when I'm on the potty. You know, I like I like the small phone. So I don't know. And then there's going to be more practical smart home devices, you know, like our microwave, ring sensors, smart blinds to reduce our energy bill. There's a $99 Vivo smart toilet. It analyzes our urine, shares hydration data. And then Kohler debuted a $600 model that analyzes your poop. There's going to be exoskeletons to boost our physical performance, I guess, when we work out. So PC Mag lists a bunch of stuff. Pretty cool. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit, and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Dr. Dolly Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So this is really pissing me off, and I got to just say it. I'm seeing people quote online Anne Frank, who had to hide from the Nazis, and while people were being pulled out of their homes, raped, experimented on, slaughtered, and she ends up dying in a concentration camp. She and most of her family, when they get caught, even though she was Meep had a non-Jew had helped protect them and hide them from the Nazis. And I'm seeing online people quoting Anne Frank as it relates ICE. And I'm getting sick and tired of people calling ICE Nazis. You may agree or disagree with deportation law. And as you see, it's actually even more strict in Mexico and Canada. So I'm wondering if these protests are also protesting Canadian deportation and Mexico deportation and Japanese deportation and German deportation, because the deportation laws are pretty strict, even stricter than America's. But really, you're going to be calling ICE Nazis? I'm seeing these videos. Yeah, I mean, what did Nazi soldiers do? They put you in concentration camps. They put you in extermination camps. They raped you. They did experiments. They tortured you. Just brutal. They didn't give you money and a plane flight to go to the country of your choice or to go back home. I mean, come on, man. I mean, that doesn't need to be, that doesn't need explanation. And what stinks is, here's the thing. I am a huge fan of the First Amendment rights. I will fight to the death for that. Our Constitution protects First Amendment rights and peaceful assembly. But when I see people take advantage and ruin it for the rest, I mean, oh my gosh, you know how much power you could have to make this world great? And instead, you're, completely looking crazy, calling, law enforcement, who is there to do the same job that Canadian ICE does and Mexico ICE does, and calling them Nazis. Yeah, I think in Mexico, if you're caught trying to marry to stay in the country, I think there's a 5-year, you could be in prison for at least 5 years. The Ley de Migración, law of migration, extension, detention, deportation of foreigners. If there's no visa, if there's an overstayed visa, unauthorized work, you're out. Deportation in Mexico involves detention, bans on reentry, penalties like fines or imprisonment for repeat offenses. You are not allowed to be there. If you are there without authorization. Now, we're not even talking about ICE, America ICE removing criminals. We're just talking about in Mexico right now. I mean, just if you're there illegally. I decided to go to Tijuana or Nogales, hang out, say, I prefer to live here. I'm getting deported. I'm getting detained and deported. Now, I don't see protests in Mexico. Well, because their border is a lot more secure and they don't have, criminal elements coming in that they believe, or the degree of those, Tren de Aragua's or whatever are already, it's not that they're coming in, they're already there. So that's a whole nother sort of extraction process. But in terms of Mexico, don't go to Mexico illegally. You're going to get detained. You can get arrested. You could be imprisoned. And look at Canada. Canada also very strict. They can remove non-citizens, including permanent residents, if you misrepresented or lied on your application or visa, if you're a criminal, if you are a security threat, if you fail your residency obligations. Lifetime bans. The Canadian Border Services Agency does not screw around. You're getting deported from Canada. So I'm just confused because look, there's a lot of things that we need to fix in this country. There are people we want to protect. There are people we need to help. We got to help our homeless population. We got to help our children. We got to help victims of crime. We have to deal with our food impoverishment, our lack of access to health care in certain low-income communities. There is so much we need to do, so much we need to fight for. But you start rioting and throwing it's making the chaos that you're making. I mean, there's going to be bigger fish to fry, people. and calling ICE Nazis, now you're just taking it to a whole crazy level. And you're not getting support. I think the average American understands what happened to Renee Good, which is so tragic. She was there, wanted to obstruct. Then she freaks out that they want to arrest her. Her partner's trying to get in the van. She wants to get the hell out of there, leaves her partner, starts gunning the car, but there's an ICE agent in front of her. He feels his life's in jeopardy. Sadly, he gets hurt and she dies. Horrible tragedy. Should have never happened. So the first thing the mayor should have done and the governor should have done is said, guys, okay, we want safety first. Okay, I know this looks good for the midterms, and I know we got all these, video clips that can be really, really good and really historic and all that. But listen, safety comes first. If you have people doing an operation, whether it's in Canada, whether it's in Mexico, whether it's in Japan, and they are deporting criminals or deporting people illegally, because apparently in Canada and Mexico, even if you're not a criminal, you're there illegally, you get deported. All right, these are individuals that are armed. Let's stay away. Because it could be dangerous, especially if they get into a gunfight with Trender Wagwa. Here's where you could do peaceful assembly and be safe, if it's all about saving lives. And instead, it's, let the chaos ensue. As a doctor, I'm appalled. This is so dangerous. Then people are at a church praying. And then you got this mob rule saying, if you're not with us, you're against us. So you're not going to get to pray on this Sunday because you're not with us fighting against ICE. And, if you feel really, really strongly about deportation, then are you also going to go to Canada? Are you also going to go to Mexico? Because they're deporting Americans. I know you want to fight for America and you're fighting for Americans, but Canada's deporting Americans. So is Mexico. So are these other countries that Americans are, trying to go to illegally. And then, are you going to also riot and attack and obstruct, and call those agents Nazis? You got to have a consistent message here, because here's the thing. There's a lot of power that Americans have. And this right to peaceful assembly is very powerful, and we should use it. Martin Luther King taught us how to do it to a perfect T. And our rights are going to start to change if this is what people are calling peaceful assembly. Peaceful assembly is not supposed to be about riots. Peaceful assembly is not supposed to be about throwing things and hitting officers and moms getting killed, when their van starts to run at an officer. Whether it was on purpose or not, it was a bad situation. And she looked like she was panicking and left her partner in the dust, jammed the car to get out of there, and sadly hits an officer, gets killed. We could do better, but don't be an illegal immigrant in Mexico or Canada, because you're not going to like it. 1-877-Doc-Dolly, don't go away.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA-1. That's 800-JBS-USA-1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA-1 today.